It was supposed to be the best night of my career. I, to 6F, had just received a huge promotion at work, a recognition. I had spent years earning through late nights, extra projects, and sacrificing personal time to prove myself. And when I finally got the call from my manager, it felt like a dream come true. The moment was overwhelming. But the best part was knowing my team, friends, and family would all be there to celebrate with me. That was the plan, at least. A dinner at a nice restaurant was booked, and I thought it would be an unforgettable night, surrounded by people who cared. But the second I walked in, everything shifted. My celebration. It wasn't mine anymore. The restaurant was all decked out. But instead of seeing "Congratulations on your promotion," I saw a banner with my stepsister Lauren's name. "Congratulations on 1 month at your new job, Lauren." I froze. My stomach twisted. What the hell? I scanned the room in disbelief, and there, standing proudly like he'd just won an award, was my dad. And next to him, Lauren. Her face lit up as if she'd just won an Oscar, and my heart sank deeper. I'd spent years working tirelessly for this moment, endless overtime, pushing through the stress, and for what? To watch my dad hijack my celebration for my stepsister's 1 month at her entry-level job. This was not the night I'd been waiting for. I turned to my friend, who had helped organize everything. She looked just as confused, her eyes full of disbelief. "I had no idea," she whispered, fury bubbling up in her voice. "This was supposed to be your night." But apparently, my dad didn't think so. As he noticed me standing there, still in shock, he grinned ear to ear. "You're here," sighed. "Isn't this great? I thought it would be nice to celebrate both of you." But Lauren's little win felt like it deserved a bit more spotlight. A bit more spotlight. This was my night. I had worked hard for this promotion. Lauren had worked a month. I couldn't even process what was happening. The anger started bubbling up, but I held it together. I wasn't about to cause a scene, not yet. But that didn't stop my dad from going on. "It's the little wins that count," he said, completely oblivious. "Starting a new job is a big step, you know." I could feel my friends and coworkers staring awkwardly, their smiles plastered on their faces as they tried to navigate this uncomfortable mess. My mom. I could see the vein in her neck twitch. She was furious. But no one was saying anything. We were all just sitting there, surrounded by balloons and a cake meant for someone else. "Lauren, tell everyone about your first week," my dad continued. "What's the biggest thing you've learned?" He practically begged for her to share something impressive, but all Lauren could muster was something generic about teamwork and being punctual. The silence was so thick, you could cut it with a knife. I sat there, just staring at my dad, trying to figure out how he could possibly be so out of touch. My friends, my coworkers, they kept trying to redirect the conversation back to me, but each team right back to Lauren. "What advice does everyone have for Lauren?" he asked, his eyes practically sparkling with self-satisfaction. I could barely contain myself. "Seriously," I muttered under my breath. But no one reacted. The room just felt off, uncomfortable, like everyone was just waiting for it to end. And then my best friend leaned over and whispered, "This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen." Do you want to just leave? I hesitated. Every second made it harder to sit there, to smile and pretend this wasn't happening. But something in me wanted to see this blow up in my dad's face. I wanted to see him realize how badly he'd miscalculated. So I stayed, and I watched as the night I'd planned for myself unraveled, bit by bit. The awkwardness hit a peak when my best friend, who had been quietly fuming beside me, finally spoke up. She wasn't about to hold back anymore. This is ridiculous. You can't just throw a party for someone for showing up to work for a month. She blurted out. My dad's face flushed, and for the first time that night, I saw a flicker of doubt in his eyes. But he quickly recovered, still grinning. It's about supporting people at the start of their careers, he said, as though it was a defense. That was when my mom, who had been seething in silence up until this point, finally spoke up. It's nice that Lauren's settling into her job. But this night was supposed to be about her promotion, she said sharply. I'm my dad. Real achievements deserve real recognition. I could feel the tension snap in the air. My mom wasn't holding back anymore. And honestly, I was so relieved she was saying what I couldn't. But my dad just waved it off like it was nothing. We're just celebrating both of you. There's no need for comparisons, he said. Like he was some sort of hero for giving everyone a chance to shine. I couldn't stay quiet anymore. I looked him in the eyes and said, "Why do you think it's okay to overshadow my celebration for this? For 1 month at an entry-level job." He scoffed. "You're overreacting. Just share the spotlight. It's no big deal." But to me, it was a big deal. This night was about my hard work. I had earned it. Years of dedication and sacrifice, and he turned it into a joke. A joke about my sister's first month at a job that didn't even compare. Lauren's face turned bright red as she realized how embarrassing this whole thing was. She wasn't even enjoying the attention anymore. It had become painfully obvious that the whole thing was a disaster. She mumbled a quick apology to me before excusing herself to the bathroom. And then, in a final attempt to salvage whatever dignity he had left, my dad tried to get everyone to focus on Lauren again. He asked her to share more about her experience again, but this time, even my coworkers started to snap. One of the older women, someone I deeply respected, didn't hold back. "Nobody here came to celebrate a 1-month anniversary," she said bluntly. "This is beyond ridiculous. And, frankly, I've never seen a father downplay his own child's achievements like this." That hit him hard. I saw the shift in his face. For the first time that night, it seemed like he was losing control of the narrative. "Maybe you should just let Lauren have the spotlight," he muttered. But no one was buying it anymore. I turned to Lauren, who had returned from the bathroom looking completely embarrassed. I asked her, "Did you know about this?" She shook her head quickly. "I didn't want this," she said. "I thought we were just coming to celebrate you." I could tell she wasn't lying. She didn't ask for this. But I knew that if I didn't speak up, my dad would continue to push this ridiculous narrative. So I did. I turned to him and said, "This is not how it works. This is my night, my promotion, and I worked damn hard for it." The tension in the room reached its peak. People were starting to leave one by one. My coworkers, friends, even Lauren. No one wanted to stick around for the mess anymore. And then, when it was just me, my mom, and my dad left at the table, he called me selfish. "You ruined your own celebration," he said, his voice trembling with frustration. "If you just let it go, everything would have been fine." That was when I looked him dead in the eye and said, "No, this wasn't me ruining the night. It was you." Update. The morning after, I woke up to dozens of angry messages from my dad, blaming me for ruining the celebration, demanding I apologize to Lauren. It didn't end there. He went on and on about family values and how I had tried to steal the spotlight. But I wasn't apologizing for standing up for myself. He had sabotaged my moment. And now, instead of owning up to his actions, he was playing the victim. I didn't respond to any of it. There was nothing left to say. Later, I met my mom for coffee. She wasn't surprised by any of it. "This isn't about you or Lauren," she said. "It's about him. He needs to control the narrative. And when people called him out on it, he couldn't handle it." I thought about it. She was right. My dad didn't care about me. He cared about how people saw him. And I had finally reached the point where I wasn't willing to let him rewrite my reality anymore. Final thoughts. The next week, I threw my own celebration this time, without my dad. It was a small, intimate gathering of people who truly supported me. My mom was there, as were a few cousins and close friends. And it was perfect. There were no distractions, no forced applause, no one stealing the spotlight. For the first time in my life, I realized that I didn't need to keep begging for validation from someone who was never going to give it to me. It was my life, my success, and I would own it. My dad, he can keep his narrative. I'm done.